I want to bring in now, live, independent MP Kylea Tink. This is not your part of the world, Kylea Tink, but I know you have empathy for these people. From what you've seen, is everything that can be done being done right now?
I think what's interesting about our experience of these events is that they're happening to us for many times for the first time in more than a generation. And I think what it really should be calling out to us as a nation is that the conversation we need to be having is around climate mitigation and adaptation. So I do believe that in the case of an emergency, we're seeing emergency services, we're seeing governments, we're seeing politicians move as quickly as they can because the empathy is sincerely there and people want to see people reassured and given a way forward. But ultimately, this needs to be part of a much bigger conversation about what does the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades look like, and how are we going to ensure all parts of Australia are prepared.
You have a bit of power there in Canberra to certainly, lobby the government when it comes to things like climate mitigation. Net zero doesn't help people like these people of Eugowra right now. But when you talk about climate mitigation, what do you think needs to be done? I'm assuming you're talking about infrastructure, strategy.
Well, and I think it starts today, Laura. There are undoubtedly still development projects or development decisions being made that ultimately in the longer term are going to be to the disadvantage of communities. So whether that is large swathes of tree canopy being knocked down to make way for major infrastructure projects or major builds, residential builds, through to, how are we planning in the longer term for our energy grid to be sustainable.
Interesting yesterday hearing from Andrew Wilkie alleging that coal exporters are using fake reports of cleaner coal. We've always believed, and Australia has always said that, we've got some of the cleanest coal in the world. Is that in dispute?
Look, I think what we saw yesterday in the House should have us all asking questions, and it was incredibly concerning. I think for that end, it's why it is so important that our whistleblower laws here in Australia are as strong as they possibly can be, so that people who are aware of things that are happening that are inappropriate in companies are able to speak up without fear or favour. I would say definitely the reports that were tabled yesterday are cause for concern for us as Australians. And, what we do know about large commercial sectors when they're motivated towards making profit is that unfortunately they will find a way to spin a story to be as positive as it possibly can be, to be palatable to the masses. So we need to look at this really closely.
Yeah, not only companies motivated for profit, but governments also get royalties and need it for their budget bottom line as well. But we're running out of time. Quickly before I let you go, the IR bill. You don't have a casting vote on this, but I imagine your constituents do have some concerns about this industry-wide bargaining and potentially rolling strikes. What would you like to see?
Yeah, look, I think that fundamentally there are 3 parts to this legislation. 2 parts of it are quite strong. So the single enterprise and the supported bargaining are quite strong. The challenges around this multi-employer bargaining process, the definition of a small business, at the moment you only have to employ 15 people, not even on a full-time basis, to be caught up in this. Definitely, the people of North Sydney want to see wages moving. I think that's what's really important. I think what we're most concerned about, and personally I'm most concerned about, is we've rushed to this level of multi-employee bargaining, but we've missed a whole conversation around awards, which we actually know the fastest way to lift salary is to raise the minimum award.
Okay, we will see where that goes. Kylea Tink, thanks so much for your time as always.